I'll never forget the night 300 premiered in Westville, Missouri. We lived next to Fort Leonard Wood, so the theater was packed with soldiers. I was still a high school senior, but the moment the screen lit up, the entire room went silent. Every clash of shields, every roar of battle sent adrenaline through the crowd. When the movie ended, people didn't walk out, they marched. I felt 10 feet tall, invincible. What I didn't know back then was how many dark truths and untold struggles existed behind that powerful legend. One of the biggest controversies surrounding 300 was its boycott for distorting history. When the film was released, critics and historians accused it of misrepresenting the real Battle of Thermopylae. The backlash became so intense that the Iranian government condemned the film, calling it insulting to Persian culture. Security had to be increased for the cast during promotions. Director Zack Snyder later said the movie was never meant to be a documentary, it was meant to feel like a myth. Some scenes were also nearly cut for being too sensual. The Oracle's dance and the confrontation between Leonidas and Xerxes triggered concerns from the MPAA. Snyder refused to remove them entirely, believing they carried emotional and symbolic power. In the end, the studio trimmed only minimal footage. To create the iconic Spartan look, Snyder made a brutal rule: no shirts on set. Actors weren't allowed to cover up, no matter how cold or exhausting the day was. Gerard Butler later joked that he'd never seen so many abs in one place. The goal was non-stop physical awareness, every movement had to feel like a warrior. But that physical perfection came at a brutal cost. The cast endured 8 weeks of extreme Spartan-style training under elite mountaineer Mark Twight. Actors flipped massive tires, ran hills, lifted heavy weights, and survived on strict diets. Some vomited from exhaustion. Several collapsed from dehydration. Butler later admitted it was the hardest thing he'd ever done. During filming, Butler also nearly went blind when debris blasted into his eyes during a battle scene. Production stopped for days while doctors feared permanent damage. Butler still pushed himself to return as soon as possible, determined to finish the fight like a true Spartan. Lena Headey, who played Queen Gorgo, suffered in a different way. After the film's release, some male audiences attacked her personally over the controversial scene where Gorgo sacrifices her body to secure support for Sparta. The harassment became so intense that it pushed her toward depression. Years later, after Game of Thrones, many fans finally realized how powerful her performances truly were. The famous "This is Sparta" moment almost didn't survive the studio cut. Originally written calmly, Butler improvised the explosive shout. The studio feared it was too theatrical, but Snyder fought to keep it, and it became one of the most legendary lines in movie history. Another chilling image, the Tree of the Dead, was inspired by real wartime atrocities. The studio wanted it gone, but Snyder insisted it stay to show the brutality of war in its rawest form. Surprisingly, nearly 90% of 300 was filmed entirely on green screen in a Montreal warehouse. Even the blood wasn't real, most of it was added digitally. Only a few gallons of fake blood were used on set. Xerxes' transformation was also extreme. Actor Rodrigo Santoro spent over 5 hours every day in makeup, piercings, body paint, chains, all to become the godlike king audiences would never forget. At first, no studio even wanted to make 300. They thought it was too violent, too strange, and too risky. Warner Brothers initially pushed for a PG-13 rating. Snyder refused. He believed the story demanded brutality. The studio finally gave in, and the risk paid off. Against all odds, 300 became a massive global blockbuster, earning over $450 million on a modest budget. It didn't just succeed, it changed action cinema forever. Behind the glory, behind the muscle, behind the legend, 300 was forged through pain, controversy, sacrifice, and unstoppable belief. And that is what truly made it unforgettable. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to subscribe to Hollywood Unseen, hit the bell icon so you never miss an upload, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Your support keeps these stories alive.